Hi friends, welcome to Taming Python series. In this video, we're going to talk about a plotting library in Python called Matplotlib. This is an introductory video on Matplotlib. So in this video, we're going to talk about three things. One is installing Matplotlib, another is the anatomy of a Matplotlib figure, and another thing is a simple code to create a simple basic line plot in Matplotlib. So let's get started with installing this Matplotlib library. I'll just open a command prompt. I'm going to type python -m pip install matplotlib and the library will be installed for you. In my computer already matplotlib was installed, so I'm getting requirement already satisfied. But in your case, if it's not installed, you'll get all this prompts about installing matplotlib and your library will be installed. So this is just writing pip python -m pip install matplotlib and it will install the matplotlib plotting library in your Python environment. So that's it guys, pip install matplotlib. And the next topic is anatomy of a matplotlib figure. So what's a figure in matplotlib? Matplotlib figure is a canvas on which you can draw figures. So like if you want to draw a plot, you got to draw it on something, right? So that's a figure in the terminology of matplotlib. So basically, to understand matplotlib library or to understand how to control the appearance of figure in matplotlib library, you need to know about the terminology of the various items used in matplotlib. So let's get to know that. This image, I have taken it from the official documentation of matplotlib. So let's go ahead and try to explore what are the different components of a matplotlib figure. The whole canvas on which you can draw plots is a figure, and that's what they have given here, right? It's a figure. And the next important terminology is axis. So the area on which you can draw the data, it's called an axis. So that's why they have given it as axis, right? And the next thing which you want to talk about is the title. On your figure you can draw a title for each axis. So this is called title. They have given it in blue color, you can see. So the each terminology in this diagram is given in blue color, so you can understand what is the terminology of each item, what each item is called. Okay, and the next thing is, you can see they have drawn two lines here. This is one line and this is another line. So these are called line plots. You can see they are given, there are two line plots in this figure. In axis, you can say, because axis is the drawing area where you can draw the data, right? And you can see there are even markers, something like this. So these dots, this each individual dot is called a marker in matplotlib, and the whole plot which you can see here, this dots plot, it's called a scatter plot. All right. And the next important terminology is this grid. So you can have a grid just like a graph paper on a axis. So this is called a grid in the terminology of matplotlib. And you can even have legends, like what is represented by each line. Like this, they have named it as a blue signal, and this red line they have named it as a red signal. So this way you can even create a legend on your plot. So this is called a legend in matplotlib terminology. You can even have spines like this. So all these lines, this vertical, horizontal, all these lines which are surrounded by this axis, these are called the spines. They have given it here. These are called spines of the matplotlib figure. So these are spines. Okay. And the next thing is the labels. So this is x-axis data. Suppose this is like date. So you want to write date or something like this here, right? So this is a label, and this is called an x-axis label. And if you write a label for y-axis, it is called a y-axis label. In your axis, you want to write numbers like 1, 2, 3, 4, or you might even want to write something like January, February, or something like that. So these are called tick labels. So they have given it here. This is a major tick label. The big ones are the major tick labels. And if you write some small numbers, something like this 0.5, these are the small labels. So these are called minor tick labels. So there is a concept of major tick label and minor tick label in a matplotlib axis labels. So and these small lines which you can see, these are called the ticks in matplotlib terminology. They have given this small line is a minor tick, where you have minor tick labels, and the big dots, I mean the big horizontal projections, you can see these are called major tick labels. So this is another terminology which you need to know. So these are some of the important terminologies of a matplotlib figure. The requirement why we need to understand is because the whole API of this matplotlib controlling the figure depends on this terminology. So that was about this terminology. And even in my blog post, I have given the link to the official documentation. You can see anatomy of a figure. There is this link that points you to the official Matplotlib documentation. You can go and have a deep dive on what each terminology is and what code they have used to create this terminology. So this is very important, guys. And let's get to the third topic of today's topic, which is creating a basic line plot with x and y coordinates. So this is a small example where at the end of this example we will create a basic plot, something like this. It will have a y-axis label and an x-axis label. It will have a figure to the whole plot. It will have a legend, and you will have a small line plot, something like this. So let's get started with the example, right? To get started, I'm taking a blank folder. I'm going to open it with VS Code. I'll create a new file. I'll just name it index.py. First, I need to import matplotlib, right? Because I have installed matplotlib. So I will import matplotlib dot pyplot. So this is the module which I'm going to use, and I'm aliasing it as plt because I don't want to write matplotlib.pyplot all over my code. So I'm just aliasing it as plt. So this was the first step. We want to create a basic line plot. So for that, we need to have some data, right? So I'm just using some data. I'll just write 1 2 3 4 and y equal to 1 4 2 3. All right, so I've got some data, so I want to plot this. So in order to create a plot, you need to have a canvas, right? So to have a canvas, you just need to write plt dot subplots, and that's it. So in return, if you invoke this, you will get a tuple in return. So those are the figure handle and the axis handle. So what plt.subplot does is it will create a canvas, and it will return you the handles to control them. So now I've got the axis handle, and remember, while talking about our terminology, we have told this the data, the area where we can plot the data is called axis, and you got the axis handle to that data handling part. So now I can use this axis handle to plot data. So I'll just write axis dot plot of x comma y. So you just plot the data and give the x values and y values as arguments. That's all. So now your plot will be created. So now let's try to run this. So let's try to recap what we did. So we created a canvas, and we just plotted on the axis handle. That's all. Okay, I just forgot. I need to show the plot too, right? plt.show. Yeah, I forgot the last thing. I have to show the plot. So let me try to save this and run this. Now you can see I have created a plot with just 3 lines of code, and you can see here I got a plot 1 2 3 4 and 1 4 3 2. These are the data which we are given, right? But it doesn't have a title, it doesn't have a legend, it doesn't have an x and y axis labels, right? So let's try to create each one of them one by one, right? So after plotting the data, I want to give a title to this, right? So how can you do that? It's just very simple. Just ax dot set title. So in the axis handle, you just write ax dot set title, and I'll just write basic plot demo. So I've created a title, and I'm telling that set this title to this axis handle. So now let's see the magic, what happens. So if I run this, you can see I've got a title to my plot. So it's just that simple, guys. You just use the axis handle and say set title. Okay, now I even want to have the x and y axis labels to my plot. So how can I do that? It's really simple. I just write ax dot set x label, and here I'll give the label of my x axis. So I'll say this is x axis data, and then I'll write axis handle dot set y label, and I'll just write y axis data, or I'll just write y data. So this is how I'm setting the labels to my exact y axis data. So now I'm going to save it and run this. And now you can see I've got my y data and x axis data. So just using 2 lines, I can create the x and y axis labels to my plot. I'll just use these 2 lines, that's all. You take the axis handle and set the x and y axis data labels. So I've got the labels. Now I want to set the legend also. To do that, while creating a plot, you'll get a line artist in return. I did not use that, but now I want to use it. So I'm assigning ax.plot, and in return I'm assigning it to a variable called LA, which is a line artist. I will set a label to that line artist. Here I'll just write LA.set label. So to the line artist of the plot, I'm setting a label called basic plot. You can write anything. I'm just giving the title to the legend, and I'll just enable the legend on this axis handle. ax.legend. So now to create a legend, you can see what I did was, while creating the plot, I took the line artist in return, and I've set a label to that, and then I'm enabling the legend. I'm switching on the legend of this axis handle. That's all. So using 3 lines, I can create a legend. So when I run this, you can see I got the legend to my plot. That's it. So this is how you can create a simple line plot using very less lines of code in Matplotlib. So this is a basic example of how you can create a basic line plot using Matplotlib library. You can see you have written very less lines of code, but it's really powerful, guys. Since this is an introductory session, I just wanted to go to a basic line plot. So this is the code for a simple basic line plot. You can see I've created a blog post on introduction to Matplotlib, where you can see the terminology of Matplotlib figure, and I've given even the sample code which I've used in this today's example. You can copy paste this and tinker it yourself in your code editor. So please be sure to check out this example in the description of this video. Hope you like this video, guys. Thank you for watching.